poised to defend this particular area in case of any aggression from the south. Another important component is the protection of ports and harbors. You have just heard the DG ISPR talked about the subconventional threat that we witnessed. There was a surge in other part of the country, and we were, there were real-time apprehension that there may be a surge. So we ensured the protection of all ports and harbors of Pakistan, and coastal command elements, they effectively played a very, very important role in this. And just to mention that on the night of 6 and 7, when they carried out the attack on Pakistan, we were fully ready to respond to any aggression from the sea. We were just ready, and but the enemy chose not to come our way. It was essentially not a matter of choice. I would say it was a matter of compulsion, because enemy fully understood the cost it would have incurred had it ventured from the sea. And likewise, वापस जाइएगा, go back please, go back. And a few words about the missile threat that you have talked about. You must have heard the enemy missile attack. We were keeping a very close eye on enemy deployment in this area, from where they can potentially launch a missile threat towards Karachi. We were fully aware, and we had our response ready to in that eventuality. And go on to the next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, all operations, whatever we do in the military domain, they are to create certain effects. We look for the effects, and the effect that we created, we were able to resolutely, with our posture, we were able to deter the Indian Navy despite its numerical superiority. Number of times have more assets and more forces, and with an annual budget of like $13 billion. So Pakistan Navy, with its potential, with its posture, with its capability, was effectively able to deter the Indian Navy from doing any venture from the sea, alhamdulillah. And that is very, very important. That is essentially the job of the Navy, to ensure that the free flow of trade continues. That's the backbone of the economy. Our 95% of trade is through the sea. Alhamdulillah, we were able to ensure that the shipping continues, the free flow of trade was ensured, and we were able, all our ports and harbors, they remained open. And you can Google yourself. So what was the case on the other side? You can Google about Kandla and Mundra, and there were some disruptions, but that you can check for yourself. But alhamdulillah, we were able to effectively ensure this. Next. We had a wonderful inter-services synergy, very effective communication, and like I said, I was in constant touch with the DGMO and the Deputy Chief of Air Staff Operations. At all times, we fully coordinated our operations, and alhamdulillah, and I think that's really successful for execution of maritime operations. Aage chale. Alhamdulillah, we came up to the national expectations. We ensured defense of Pakistan's maritime frontiers, and we were able to deter the enemy from any adventurism from the sea. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that we remain ever ready to thwart any aggression from the sea at all times. So we will keep our guard. We always keep our guard, and inshallah we will keep our guard in days to come. And last but not the least, I'll end my presentation that the next time when you think of Pakistan Navy and the silent guy, please remember that with the help of Almighty Allah, our actions will always speak louder than words. Thank you very much, and I request AVM Aurangzeb.
So the Indians didn't choose to come on the sea. Now you understand why.
On behalf of Pakistan Air Force, Chief of the Air Staff, Pakistan Air Force, I stand here with you all with deep-rooted humility and gratitude. I am so thankful for Allah helped us in achieving whatever we desired, even whatever we deserved, more than what we deserved. For being able to be up to the task for PF, as they say, second to none. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as the DG ISPR mentioned, I am Deputy Chief of Air Staff Operations. I'll pick up from where I left day before yesterday. PF versus IF, 6-0. The PF's response has strengthened Pakistan's national security. Alhamdulillah. And it has even strengthened our commitment, the enduring commitment the PF has for stability and peace. But I have no doubt, and I can say with assurances, that the real genius and the mastermind, the cerebrum behind the design and the aim and the structure, the game plan of PF was the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmed Babad Sidhu. He asked us to do 3 things in our response: re-establish deterrence, neutralize key threats, retain control of air. And I will show you in my presentation how we try to do that. Slide. During the befitting response that we generated in our first episode, we attrited the IF's pride, the Rafales, resulting in this entire fleet almost coming to a standstill, a ground position. You could see that they were not flying after that, at least not close to their western border. This reduction in flying to bare minimum actually reduced their liberty of action. They curtailed their options. Slide. This is the Pakistan's air defense environment. Pakistan air defense environment is offensive, it's integrated, it's credible. And I'll show you. I've initiated having no space with their manned aircraft, they initiated with their unmanned aircraft operations targeting Pakistan's civilian population. And their infrastructure. Here you see all these spots all across the swath of drones and UAVs who are coming inside our territory, which is being picked up by all our radars from the moment they were entering, even before that. Slide. Now, PF's air defense environment is suitably configured to detect enemies' low RCS, radio radar cross-section, high and slow speed platforms. That you can see that they are all visible by the time they are entering. Slide. So the anti-drone systems of Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Army also, and Navy, they rendered the enemy US drones attacks ineffective by spoofing, jamming, and making their systems, rendering them unserviceable. Slide. All drones with low cross-section also were detected, rendered useless through utilization of the indigenous GPS jamming systems that we have, the data and the SATCOM link denial that we created through our indigenous systems that we have made ourselves. So whenever those systems were attacked with the soft kill. They had their error induced into the GPSs and they were going haywire. And whenever they were coming to closer to any civil population or civil area of high value, a direct or a hot kill was achieved on them. Slide. So here you can see they were neutralized mid-air with the hard kill whenever they were coming close to any population or any area. Being in a sparsely populated area, they were left all around and they were applied with the soft kill. Slide. Now, after that, when the US chapter was over and they were fearing PF's retribution, in utter desperation, the IF resorted to a highly escalatory, very irresponsible surface-to-surface and long-range vector application. You can see this is Suratgarh and this is our base Rafiki. This is our eastern border, and you can see the BrahMos, high-speed BrahMos, traveling almost at 3,000 kilometers per hour, who are going over there and coming numerous, one after another. And now they were being attacked with PF's soft kill. We were inducing the errors into them, into the GPSs, which increased their CEP. The probability of missing their target increases. And hard kill was also achieved. Here you see one of the US has gone, if by the end of the slide you see one of the US has overshot the target and gone ahead. And this is the radar picture. You can see that they are going, this BrahMos will miss the target and will go ahead and fall in some no man's land. And they are being, one after another, they are coming back, crossing the borders. They are being picked, slide. They are being picked as soon as they are being launched. So real-time launch, mid-flight and terminal phase of all SSM, PF has the capability. Our air defense system, as I just mentioned, is very offensive, integrated, and credible. So here you see that they are being launched from Bhuj area. This is the southern part of the country. And this is our airfield Bhulari. You must have mentioned, you have seen there were a lot of mention from our counterparts. Here you see this BrahMos is coming. It's almost reaching the target, and you'll see when we will apply the soft kill, look what happened to it. It moved left and then disappeared towards the ground. I mean, this is the radar evidence that we have that there so many of their vectors missed the targets. A lot of them did make because they were throwing like hundreds of them. Next slide. There's one more very interesting thing that I would like you to all see. This is where it is launched from our eastern side towards Jaisalmer. This is our airfield Shahbaz, Jacobabad. Now this BrahMos is crossing on top of Shahbaz and it is going towards our western border, almost to our neighboring country towards that. And you can see this is going there, it's going ballistic. Now they are not even threatening their neighbor, they are threatening the regional stability of the whole continent and the larger area. So effective sensor to shooter grid that was made by PAF and the potent hardened soft kill capability that led to the missed target opportunities for lots of their surface to surface and long range vectors. Slide. Now this is another thing that I want you to all to see. This is a launch of a high speed projectile that has been launched from their area surrounding Adampur. Now these are the vectors where our radars are picking them, and it is disappearing short of Amritsar area within their own territory. I mean, this is the most absurd kind of a targeting psychology or practice that you would see, that you are not only targeting neighboring countries to your enemy, if they consider it, and your own people as well, jeopardizing their safety. I mean, this is the high-speed project impacting within own territory, and we have other pictures for that also. This is the repeat occurrence that happened the other night also. Slide. Now the PF's response, I would like you all to pay attention to that, because this is kind of a dizzy slide, but I will go one by one so that it's all clear. PF's response, PF's effective spectrum warfare, which supplemented the kinetic ops that we envisaged to take. The integrated, seamless, synchronous utilization of EW, cyber, and space domains, coupled with the synergetic all-domain offensive response, which orchestrated following a very intricate targeting mech, the mechanism that we undertook to engage the targets, of swift, calibrated, effect-based approach to operations, which was undertaken across complete swath of the Indian Western Front. Now you have seen in the video montage that the whole border was exposed by PF and our armed forces. So starting from the north across LOC till Kandla, with targets including airfields, ammo dumps, as far and as deep as Delhi. I mean, you can say something about Islamabad, which is a stone's throw distance, and Delhi, with, as the DG ISPR mentioned, some other cards up our sleeves with more ranges. The Barnala C2 center, which is the heart of their IACCS, and other airfields, Nalia Bhuj and Kandla, as they mentioned. You can see, Google it also so that you can see the effects. PF's hypersonic missiles, unmanned force, stand-up weapons, and long-range vectors all were on the menu for the multi-domain operations that we undertook. So PF's utilization of niche and disruptive capabilities struck deep inside the enemy. And there were like hundreds of drones that were there. Hypersonic, engaged targets, deep, precise, lethal, destructive. Slide. Just go back. I will explain the slide that is coming ahead. So our aim was to achieve ascendancy in effects so that we manage the escalation. Throughout the conflict of whatever length it was, we had the escalation management at our side. So within a short span of time of a couple of hours, we had really saturated our friendly neighborhood. Next slide. This much talked about S-400 threat. As I mentioned that we were giving special attention to the Rafales in the air, so we gave our remaining part of our attention to the S-400 on ground. Now identifying S-400, attacking them is a easier part than identifying it on ground because it is mobile, it's a high value thing, and you guard it. It's kind of a center of gravity. So we were tracking through our satellite imagery well before the hostilities, as we usually do. So we had pinpointed S-400. As you can see, we knew that this is parked. It's cheeseboard radar, and the other part of the radar, the other constituents of the whole S4 battery. Slide. These coordinates, go back. These coordinates were ortho-rectified by our space department, so that you have a very precise engagement. Whenever you are throwing and employing long-range vectors, you really need very precise coordinates so that you don't miss. So S-400 was at Adampur was targeted like that. Next. As I mentioned, some niche technologies and capabilities were employed. So our loiter munition and killer drone strike at PF. At Udhampur, you can see this was their complex and command and control, magnified before and after. It's not there. Now these kind of pictures, loads of pictures are there for targets. So I need not to show them. They were saying it themselves, as you saw on the montage. So PF's response remained very effective, very potent, and very effect-based. Slide. Time and place of own choosing, displaying bold, aggressive, and unwavering resolve of military leadership. Now I must take a moment to mention what kind of a pressure you have when this kind of a conflict arises, and I must appreciate the leadership, both the Chief of the Army Staff and Chief of the Air Staff, both. They were both very resolute and very clear in giving instructions to all of us who are the players towards the Navy, Army, and the Air Force. And that is perhaps the reason we were so sure about it, what we have to do. In speed and direction, sometimes you have to prioritize direction more than the speed. So we had the correct directions to follow. Slide. With unprecedented reach, precision, lethality, while avoiding collateral, as we have seen in the video montage. PF hit maximum number of IF airfields in a single operational package since 1971, because they crossed the international border since that, so we had to do that. Slide. While re-establishing deterrence, Pakistan negated the setting of a new normal under the hegemonistic design of a supremacist regime through swift and effective response. Slide. On a closing note, from Pakistan Air Force, PF remains committed to ensure Pakistan's airspace sovereignty and pursue peace with strength. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after these presentations, you can understand that Army, Air Force and Navy, the tri-service synergy that was exhibited, and all the three services acted jointly like one body. And just a mention on the air bases that were targeted by the Indians. We have the post-damage assessment report from all. There has been certain infrastructure damage. Of course, there has been. Only one aircraft has minor damage, which will be repaired and soon operational again. So, because the air defense system of Pakistan worked efficiently and very effectively. A few examples of that have been given to you by the AVM Aurangzeb. The drones that came in, 84 was shot and they never went back. And we also promise you that they can send anything. Whatever they will send, it will not go back. So that's a promise also that we kept. So now we can start with the question and answer. And before that, we again first bow our heads in humility to Almighty Allah for giving us this great success, and the people of Pakistan for the support that was with the armed forces. And the armed forces and the people of Pakistan were one body again. They worked together for thwarting this threat against this motherland. So we can have the first question.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is Sumaira Khan from Sama Television. And first of all, let me convey the pulse of the nation as well. They obviously they cannot reach you in person, every one of them, but the heart of felicitation is indeed with you from the masses of Pakistan, specifically youth. You mentioned very rightly. My question is, in that whole span of escalation, the Indian government had been issuing extremely provocative statements regarding initiation of war, and not just the government, but unfortunately their media was also, to me it seemed very war frenzy. And but in that whole time, in the meanwhile, I saw Pakistani side and I saw you very defensively responding to all the hegemony and Indian aggression. So I just wanted to know that it was part of your strategy. What was that? Or you never wanted that escalation to rise to all those levels? And a quick comment from Aurangzeb as well, that the multi-domain, how would you elaborate it? How did you incur it in the PF strategy to kill the Indian side in the battlefield? Thank you.
So as far as question to the escalation is concerned, let me say it. The reality is that in a conflict which is between two rival nuclear powers, such a conflict is actually an absurdity, and it is inconceivable and sheer stupidity. Why? Because that conflict can lead, in the case of Indo-Pakistan, India-Pakistan, can lead to the peril of more than 1.6 billion people. So, in reality, there is no space for war between India and Pakistan. And if anyone wants to carve out this space for war, he is actually carving out space for mutual annihilation. So that is why you saw that in this conflict, Pakistan acted in a very mature manner. And through conventional forces, we maintained escalation control. Through conventional forces, we gave them a two-notch up response, while also ensuring that these forces, the Pakistan army and the other forces that were employed on the Western Front, on the counter-terrorism operations, no pull is also exerted on them. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, you just asked regarding the multi-domain operations. It's a very good question because this is the buzzword nowadays, but it's not actually something in the air. It's a actual real milestone for PEF. The warfare has changed drastically, and so has everything that is associated with it. It's not the erstwhile concept where you can just get the number of aircraft in air and see. It's called a new AMSO, the electromagnetic spectrum operations. It's a whole new environment that is there. And everything that is regarding Air Force and in the air, it's concerning the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, air supremacy has to be preceded by a spectrum supremacy. And if you control the spectrum, you control the conflict. So Pakistan Air Force, and especially this is a thing that is pursued so vigorously by Chief of the Air Staff, that we have to have that spectrum warfare capability. And you saw how we manifested it. It is a combination of EW, space, cyber, air, land, and sea, command, control, communication, infrastructure, information. All these things, they are in the wider spectrum of electromagnetic operations. And that is how you create an environment. You create a EW web that you manifest in the whole operations. It has to be choreographed at each step, and when to administer what. And it has to be preconceived. I mean, you can't do it randomly, and you cannot just do it on your whims. So you have to understand the whole idea and whole architecture. It might get pretty technical, but multi-domain operations is the need of the day, and all those air forces who kind of relegate it, they end up in the wrong side of the barrel. So Pakistan Air Force prioritizes it. We have our own Spectrum Warfare Operations Center, which is controlling the even in a small battle or an engagement to a larger campaign. Because now all the players who are there, all aircraft, they have so much of sensors, and there's so much of fusion going on, the data links, the software-defined radars, they're all thriving on the electromagnetic spectrum or being challenged by it. So each player is taking a campaign-level decision, the kind of information he is having. And if he doesn't get that information, he is redundant. So electromagnetic warfare is the need of the hour, and multi-domain operations is what carries you, propels you to perform and achieve the mission success with mission survivability, denying the same to the enemy. Thank you.
My name is Kiran. I'm from the Khorasan Diary. Sir, I have two questions on what basically I need confirmation. Is that one, when President Trump tweeted about the ceasefire, they said that Pakistan and India can talk in a third country. और अभी जो शाम में इंडियन अथॉरिटीज़ की मीटिंग प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है, they said that the DGMOs spoke, in which Pakistani DGMO asked for ceasefire first, and tomorrow there is a call already planned at 1200. Meanwhile, the IAF said that their operation is still continued. So what is Pakistan's strategy tomorrow when the two DGMOs are going to talk? And the second thing is that, as international media also reported, that Pakistan has Indian pilot in the custody. So do we have Indian pilot in our custody? And if we have, are we going to return her or him?
So I can confirm you very clearly, we don't have any pilot in custody. This is all social media chatter. This is all part of the multiple source of fake news and propaganda that keeps on, that has been generated from multiple sources. As far as your first question is concerned, let me say it very clearly and put it on record. Pakistan never requested. The fact of the matter is that on the night of 6th and 7th May, once those ghastly and cowardly attacks were made, the Indians requested after those attacks. And Pakistan gave a very clear response that we will communicate back only after we have given the response that this and retribution that this act deserves. So on 10th of May, after that response and retribution, that just retribution, targeting not the civilians, but those military establishments, those units, those places from where the attack on the civilians, the innocent civilians, the children was made, once they were neutralized and taken out. And on the request and intervention of the international interlocutors, we responded to the already made request of the Indians. And if you see publicly, what's on the public record? What I have shown you just now. What was the public position of the Ministry of Defense of the Indian Armed Forces? Who was asking for non-escalation once the just retribution of Pakistan Armed Forces have gone? So I think the record publicly, the facts speak for themselves. You want me to make public that what strategy are we going to adopt? For any threat, anything that they can pose, posture, your armed forces are always vigilant and ready. We have proved it on ground multiple times. We can prove it. So, and we don't respond, and we are not here for a response that what they said, and so it's not that what they said that I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll come to you after that.
Thank you very much. Saima Shabir from Arab News. Sir, my question is related to tomorrow's meeting by DGMOs. Pakistan has declared the suspension of Indus Water Treaty as an act of war. So if tomorrow on the agenda this Indus Water Treaty suspension is on the table and India does not call it off, I mean, it does not regulate it again, and it is suspended till the time. So what would be the strategy by Pakistan Army, because Pakistan has called it an act of war?
So the position of the government of Pakistan on the Indus Water Treaty is absolutely clear, and no further comment is needed on that. Our Turkish friend over here is raising his hands again and again. Skardu, okay. I thought you are from the Andolo news agency. Sir, many people thought I am Chinese. Yes. Khaplu, great place. Great place.
I am from Kapul Chwar at the border area, just a half hour from the Indian border.
Okay.
Sir, I am from
Wonderful.
British.
Okay. Sorry for the mistaken identity.
Sir, my question is that
अहमद मंसूर 24 न्यूज़ से ताल्लुक़ है। जनरल साहब, हमारी जो फोर्सेस की लीडरशिप है उसके लिए बहुत कुछ कहने को है, लेकिन मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा कि जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज स्ट्राइक्स आपने की हैं इस सारे कन्फ्लिक्ट में, उन्होंने भी बॉर्डर पर बड़ा कुछ हिला के रखा है। सवाल सर मेरा ये है कि मसला कश्मीर एक ऐसा है कि उसकी वजह से दो एटमी जो ताकतें हैं वो एक खौफनाक जंग पूरी दुनिया को हिला के रख देती है। इस दफ़ा फिर यही हुआ। और अभी जो सदर ट्रंप ने अभी जो दूसरा ट्वीट किया है, उन्होंने मसला कश्मीर को एक मुतनाज़ा इलाका करार दिया है, उसका जिक्र मुतनाज़ा खित्ते के तौर पे किया है। तो इंडिया तो इसको अपने तौर पे इसको गैर मुतनाज़ा कहे बैठा है, लेकिन क्या ये एक बड़ा नादर मौका नहीं है, सुनहरी मौका नहीं है पाकिस्तान के पास कि अब इस जो कन्फ्लिक्ट के तनाज़र में, अब चूँकि दुनिया भी राब्ते में है, सबकी नज़रें हैं इस पे, तो पाकिस्तान दोबारा मसला कश्मीर को
Kashmir remains central to the dispute between India and Pakistan. And peace between India and Pakistan will always elude till the time there is not the resolution of the Kashmir as per the United Nations resolutions and as per the will of the people of Kashmir. So that is important to understand. Till the time that is not done, there cannot be enduring peace between India and Pakistan. So this military conflict has once again put Kashmir right as the flashpoint, which needs to be resolved, which needs to be as per the will of the people of the Kashmir. And you have alluded to the tweet and the international power rightly understanding that this issue of Kashmir needs to be resolved. The problem here is that what we are seeing is, and I talked about it in my last press conference also, is that India continues to internalize this external problem. Kashmir is an external problem with Pakistan, India, and the people of Kashmir. It is on the UNSC resolution. It's an internationally recognized dispute. And India is trying to internalize it. How? By trying to change the demography of Kashmir, by trying to change the legal status in violation of the UNSC resolutions and the international commitments that India has made, by the coercion and harassment of the people of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and multiple other actions, by the oppression that is going on and the just and the just struggle of the people of Kashmir for their rights, and then on the pretext of law and order, on the pretext of terrorism, you are seeing what's happening even after Pahalgam in Kashmir. Houses of the people are being bulldozed, blasted. People are being taken into custody, and not in dozens, but in hundreds, in thousands. You have got so much security forces, so many intelligence people, so much state power put in that very small place. The rights of the people, the plight of the women, the plight of the children. So it's an international issue. Talk it out, find a solution which satisfies the will of the people. So that is what needs to be done as far as Kashmir is concerned.
सर, मोहम्मद इमरान सुनो न्यूज़ से। सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या इंटरनेशनल गारंटीज दी गई हैं कि जो सीज फायर है वो कोई लंबे अरसे के लिए सस्टेन कर सकेगा?
You see, being the spokesperson of the armed forces of Pakistan, I can state with 200% certainty that the Pakistan Armed Forces are holding the line of control ceasefire. No violation is being made by Pakistan Army or the armed forces. Because we are a professional army and we strongly abide by the commitments that we make, and we follow in letter and spirit the orders of the political government. That's what the professional army does. Now, if you see in reality what's happening in Pakistan, Pakistan is celebrating peace. You go to the streets and towns of Pakistan, the Pakistanis are celebrating peace. Does it make any sense for Pakistan to start violating the commitment that we made? It doesn't make any sense. Because we are a peace-loving nation. Peace within and without. However, if there is any aggression, we will respond, and we respond then.
So thank you so much. My name is Raza. I'm from Iranian State News Agency. If you allow me, I have a question from the Honorable Vice Admiral. So thank you. We have seen the activities of the Navy before the escalation and the readiness. As the Indian Navy P-81 was being closely tracked and even seen on media, why Pakistan Navy decided not to shoot it down? And you refer to the limitation facing by the Indian aircraft carrier. Keeping in view the limitation of the Indian aircraft carrier, can you please explain us why India have not brought its carrier to, for so-called possible attack?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question. Okay. First of all, like I told you that the war is not fought in isolation by a single service. So, whatever we do, it's a very well coordinated effort. So, all actions are calibrated amongst the three armed forces at what time, what is to be done. So, at that time, when that was the video of 4th and 5th of May, we just demonstrated that we were keeping a very close vigilance. And I've mentioned our, the very effective coordination and collaboration with Pakistan Air Force. So I'll not go into those details because of the operational security reasons. But essentially, that was simply to send across a message that if we can track, so we can go to the next level, but that is based on the national decision-making. That's not an isolated. The Navy will always act in sync with the all three services, and that would be a national security decision-making thing. So when the time will come for that to happen, so inshallah we will respond in that fashion. The aircraft carrier, I mentioned, for example, we can have that slide, Kazim, if he's here. So this is the aircraft carrier which is having 8 to 12 MiG-29s, which is barely enough to carry out its own air defense. And aircraft carriers, if the Western aircraft, if you talk about the 4th class aircraft carriers, they carry like 75 plus aircraft. And the purpose is to project the power and to have the air superiority in the theater of war. So, and that is how they influence operations from sea to land. So, in case of INS Vikrant, the aircraft that it was carrying, they were barely enough to protect, to carry out its own air defense. And the question of projecting power ashore or to maintaining an air superiority in a theater, in conflict theater, that's simply not possible. We know that The Indian Navy understands that, and that is why it was more of a psychological, trying to create a deception or a psychological effect, and we fully understood that. And like I said, we were always ready. Had there been any aggression, we, in close coordination with Pakistan Air Force, we were always ready. They were cockpit ready to generate a response. We have a mechanism worked out with the Pakistan Naval Aviation Assets and Pakistan Air Force assets. So the response was always ready. And I mean, this is simply, let me say it politely. You know, I did mention that as a professional military officer, I don't want to underestimate the enemy, but you know, let tell you candidly that INS Vikrant, with its present capability, it's effective essentially in the IO domain.